Welcome to Music is a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean, and Music is a Day Job is brought to you by the Concert app. Now, today's question is, how do you find your sound as an artist? And this is an interesting question because I think it's lost a lot of its, people have messed it up. The industry has messed it up. Like, they have messed it up. I watched a kid that I know, he went from like 4 different sounds. Like, he was rhyming, when he first started, he was rhyming like a Southern artist. Like, we down here with the drink and dang like that. And then he went to rhyming like 6ix9ine, like all loud. And now he's like rhyming like kind of like the offbeat, like West Coast type feel, like the blue, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but they this is why it's hard to say, because what the music industry does is the music industry repackages people that are very similar. So what happens is, if you ever get into the studio at an industry level, they always have things that's kind of like, if you sound like this and you do like this, then it matches this guy. And it's like boxing people consistently. That's why you almost see like the same artist come out like 5 times. They got similar song topics and stuff like that. And it stays that way because they try to mimic things that work. And they go like, okay, this is working, which takes away from a lot of artists, because a lot of artists then go like, well, this is the sound that's going. That's one reason why I like I talked about the Jello Ball song. That's one reason why I like that, because he did a song that sounded like 2000s to people. It sounded like that to people. And I really doubt that he's mimicking, like going like, yeah, I want a song that sounds like Manny Fresh from 2004. That's just really probably how he sounds, and the dude who made the beat uses drums and sounds like that, and then it came across like that, and then people are accepting of it, because good music is just good music. Like, it is what it is. Like, it sounds good, it just goes, you know what I'm saying? So I don't like that a lot of artists, they get into finding their sound by sounding like someone, and we all do it, because even when I first started, I'm the biggest Tupac fan. So then when I first started, I wanted to be like, enemies see me bleed. You know, enemies see me bleed what they need. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to take them down there like that. You know what I'm saying? And rap like that. And like, and I watch bands do it too. I watch bands like, especially like you hear like Nirvana, like, yeah, like I was glad about Nirvana talking about when they, I don't know if it was the Gap Band or who, they took the disco beat from the do do do, like the like that drum kick. Like, you can take pieces, because this is understanding your art. You want to take pieces and like things that work, but you don't want it to be blatant. You want it to be you. So it's like there's vocal patterns that you naturally have that are like comfortable to the way you sound and everything like that, and it may be similar to someone else, or like patterns, sounds, anything like that, like ranges of singing, everything there, they can be very similar. So when you find that comfortable pocket, you make it you. You see what I'm saying? So this is the difference. Like, when I first started, I was rapping like, I was rapping like Tupac. Then I started rapping like Ludacris, and I was doing the extra on the end of the verses. Let me see. Can I think of a Ludacris verse? I don't even know. I can't even think of a Ludacris verse right now. But he's very heavy on the bottom end. And then I wanted to rap like 50 Cent. So then I started like sliding like this, and I don't have my style, and it sound like that, like that, you know. And I liked all 3 of the artists. So I naturally already have kind of a deeper voice. I naturally already kind of like slur a tad bit at the end of some of my things like that. So then it was like, how do I figure this out? How do I put this together? But then people will just go and be like, yo, I'm going to just sound just like this person. I like to keep my regular voice and then figure out like where these cadences and where these sounds can kind of mix to sound good over a beat. Very similar to how you use your vocals, very similar to how a guitar rides on a beat. A guitar sounds exactly like another guitar that was used in the past, but the way they do it, you can have a style that you make from it your own, but you can find where those comforting pieces are that match someone else's. Just like I said with the Nirvana drums and stuff like that, he talked about that, and he talked about who he had took how he took the style from that. And so it's like, but see, he's putting it in rock, he's not putting it in funk. So he's taking something and he's changing it into like a rock format. I like to say that you take your pieces that you enjoy, you find where those things kind of sound, where it's kind of like, okay, that's why people like it, and then you figure out where you're comfortable with it. I always say that I don't really, I'm not the biggest Drake fan, but he's found his sound to the T, and he's in it all the time. He's in this like range, and he stays here, and his beats are just in that range for him to rap like that and everything like that. Like, he didn't really deviate from speeds, BPMs, everything like that. He keeps it in a good range for himself, and he knows what his sound is. It's very like, you can tell the artists that do it. Like, you got the Eminems, like you got the Tupacs, you got the Jay-Z's that like they find exactly what that sound is. And now you can see the similarities from other artists, but then you see where they have made it their own. So I always tell people, you at some point you have to make your own. Like, you can do the mimicking for a second, but then I always tell people, like, people have made hits mimicking, but then you never really see him again. Like, if you look at the Panda Kid, like, he's so close to Future that it hits because a lot of people thought it was Future. And then it was like, oh, well, this kid, he sounds dope. But then after a while, it goes like, well, I'd rather just hear Future. Like, it's too close. You never really made it into who you are. Like, I really liked the Pop Smoke kid that passed away. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. He sounds like 50 and sounds like DMX. And he's in his own little lane there. And it's like, he sounds like, but it's not that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not 50. It's not DMX. Kind of sounds like it. And he even said that 50 was one of his biggest inspirations. But he's taken it to another space. So that's what I say. Like, once you find that, like, the stuff you like and you like the sound, then you're using your own self to create that feeling behind it. Also, you're using your own sound and your own range to figure out what that sound needs to be. And that's for rappers too, because range doesn't just mean like how singers have range and notes and stuff like that. As a rapper, you want to know your range of where your voice feels comfortable and that cadence can sound good, because you can be too loud and not sound good. You can be too low, you can be too over, like, what I'm saying, like, because there's still notes that are going on right there. Too raspy, too crackly, too anything. And you got to find where that range is and where that comfortability comes in with your own voice. And so, but you can take those little pieces and try to figure out. Like, I would always be like, yo, like, I liked Jeezy's ad libs. But now I'm not going to do a Jeezy ad lib. I'm not going to be like, yeah, like, I'm not going to do that. But then if I did like my laugh, like the, like any of that stuff or any of that, I just would do it. But I liked his ad libs. So I took the idea of how many ad libs and how he does. But then I have my own ad libs that fit like people like that I do, and then I like, what I'm saying? I like bars, heavy on the bars. And there's tons of rappers that are heavy on the bars. That's why I said I like Ludacris. But then I have to do the bars how I want to do them. So definitely that's how you can help find your sound and start seeing like people. Because people will react better too. Because when you sound like somebody else, it's kind of like you're a mimic. So then people will kind of be like, well, at some point, as I said, they'll be like, hey, I'd rather hear the real thing. But then when you find your sound, they see the comparison, but then they also go like, oh, but this has its own sound, so then it's authentic. You know what I'm saying? So then they got to hear you to hear you. So definitely work on finding your own sound as an artist. This is Music as a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean. Is brought to you by the Concert App. The Concert App is the artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour, gives the fan the best experience in independent live music. Now get on that app if you're an artist and start getting on shows. We send you the details. If you agree, then you get on show. That's how you make it happen. If we're not in your area or anything like that, tell everybody to get on the app, because once they're on the app, then I can see a demand and I can start getting out into those areas. Definitely tell all your fans get on the app also, because fans can be on the app and start supporting all these artists. Support. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Sean. This Music is the Day Job.